Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Darren. Darren is from London in the UK. So let's see what Darren has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello.
Hey, that's good. That's better. Sorry about that.
Now you can hear me now?
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. Sorry.
That's okay. How are you, Darren?
Yeah, not too bad. How about yourself?
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time this evening for the interview. Thank you.
That's all right. And I had a quick look at some of the others. You've done loads of these now.
Say again?
You've done a lot of these now.
My God, yeah, I've reached over 700 interviews so far. So it's a lot of people around the world.
Wow.
So tell me how's your day been so far?
Yeah, not too bad. I've been writing today, so it's been a day. It's raining really badly here. Whereabouts are you?
I live in London. I just live in South London. How about you?
Oh yeah, southeast.
All right.
So not too far.
Yeah. So Darren, tell me where you're from originally.
So my parents, my mother's side are from Anglo-Indian. So that's my original sort of start there.
But you were born and raised in London?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've always been here. So I was born in Hackney in East End.
Wow. And what do you like the most about living in London, growing up in London?
I actually really like London itself. I mean, we live in the suburbs now. So, we're on the doorstep of London, as it were. But I'm up there all the time. And central London itself, I think, is just so, it's just really cosmopolitan, metropolitan. It's just, I've been to quite a few cities and I still like it the best, really.
I see. And tell me what you do for a living, Darren. I know you're a writer and a filmmaker as well.
Yeah. So predominantly a writer. So I do a bit of teaching and stuff as well, but predominantly I write plays, film, theatre, TV.
So tell me a little bit about your career, how everything started.
Okay, so originally I've always been interested in film anyway. I went to a youth theatre, started up a theatre company, was an actor for a little while, and then went to drama school late as a mature student and did a degree in writing. And then from then I've just sort of written some theatre, fringe theatre, some bigger sort of shows as well. And then from there got into TV and radio and sort of went from there really.
Wow. And what do you like the most about your career?
It's all story, isn't it? So I like telling stories and I like structuring stories as well. So I think that the sort of the way that stories are built, I find really interesting. When you look at, as I say, when I'm doing a writing class, for instance, and we're looking at structure, and the favorite films all fit the same structure, regardless of what they are, whether they're horror or science fiction or romance or whatever. I just find it really interesting, and having done live theatre as well, obviously, I find it really interesting the way that audiences respond to things and what they expect, and then subverting that expectation is what I really like.
Interesting. Darren, before we start our journey, William the Magic Box, I would you like to tell me something interesting about yourself?
Something interesting about myself. Goodness me. I don't know if there is anything.
I'm sure there are a lot of interesting things for sure.
Okay. So I don't know if it's interesting or not, but I used to be a watch and clock repair as well. So I've done a lot of watch and clock repairs. I don't know if that's interesting particularly.
What's that? Tell me a little bit. I'm not familiar.
So antique clocks. I haven't got any in this room. But sort of repairing people's clocks and watches.
Oh, I see. Repairing.
Yeah,
I got it now. Oh, I see.
It's very similar to script building, actually, which is interesting.
Darren, are you ready? Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Definitely.
Yeah? Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend. Random fun questions. I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question. Let's do it. Hey Darren, so before we start the game, during the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, I always can change, okay?
Okay.
First question for you is, let's start with a low question now. What has been the lowest point of your life?
Oh, interesting. The lowest point of my life. I think when I first left college, when I first left university, it was really hard to get started. It's always really hard. I mean, the whole industry is really hard, you know. It's not hard like mining, but it's hard like to break in and stuff. And we invested a lot of personal money, but it was a lot of the time for me anyway, in a show. And it was really difficult to get it off the ground, get it on, get it publicized. And it was really difficult to get audiences in, and it was just a real slog. So I came out of university with a debt and nothing to show for it, in the sense of, you know, it felt like there was no future in this thing that I just spent 3 years studying. It just seemed like a total waste of time. We just had our first child, and it just felt really like, you know, there wasn't any way of climbing out of this sort of hole that I'd put myself in, and my family, really. So I suppose that was it.
Do you think that's let's say challenge events, it was necessary for the person, your professional career right now?
Yeah, it's made me incredibly resilient. And I think everyone says there's a lot of rejection in acting and writing and stuff, and there is, but I think it really has made me appreciate the fact that from one day to the next, really, you know, you have your ups and downs and you don't really know where it's going to go. And I just feel really lucky that I've been able to have a career that I really enjoy, you know, and people are asking me to write things. I mean, you know, that's what I've always wanted, so I can't complain, even if I'm doing it without being paid, you know.
Yes, as you said, I think, of course, for you must be like a difficult time, because you just came out of the university where you thought maybe the things will start to happen, and suddenly you have these, you know what I mean, like events that kind of put you down. But anyway, as you said, it's about resilience and, you know, wait for the best to come. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, Darren from London. Next question is, what do you think is a good age to start dating, and why?
A good age to start? Oh, I don't know, 50?
Okay, there are no rules. Tell me
why.
No,
I mean, I think a good age to start dating. Well, I think it's when you feel ready for it, isn't it? You know, it's not really, I think different people, it's different ages, you know, and I don't think, you know, I've always been really lucky that I've had really nice friends and really nice people, you know, supportive people that I've been around and stuff like that. So I've never felt the necessity to date in that sense. I just sort of fallen into things. But I think, yeah, it's when it's right for you, really. I mean, with our kids, I'd never really say, oh, now, you know, now's the time to think about this or that or whatever.
Next question. All right, next question is, if someone offered to tell your future, would you accept it or not, and why?
Oh, interesting one. Yeah, good. No, I don't know I would. I don't know that I would, because I think, I don't know that I'd want to know. I think if it was really positive, I think I'd just be waiting for it to start. And if it was really negative, it made me think, what's the point? So I'm not really sure what the use of it would be, I suppose, for me. So yeah, no, I'm not sure that I would want to know.
All right, yeah, I think it can bring a little bit of anxiety of thinking about. As you said, it could be something nice.
Yeah.
You're always gonna keep that in your mind, the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Next one, let's do it. Right, before the next question, tell me, what's the best part of being a writer, and also the flip side, what's the most challenging part in your opinion?
So the best thing is, you know, you're creating these worlds, and it sounds really weird, but when you're writing, you are sort of in those worlds. It's if you've been writing in the day, it's almost like you've been in a bit of a trance, and you come out of it and you have to sort of decompress a bit. So it's really interesting going into those worlds, you know, because you can go into sci-fi worlds and you can go into thriller worlds and all that sort of stuff, and it's just really interesting. And it's just really nice creating those things, and then particularly in a movie theater or in an actual theater, seeing them where lots of people are watching, and you know, you have a gasp or a laugh or a oh my goodness, you know, whatever, to something you've written, you know, and that's the same for TV as well. You know, if you've got 6 million people watching your stuff at the same time, that's just incredible. And that's what I love, the fact that an audience are responding to your stuff, you know. The flip side of writing is that people come to you with a lot of ideas, which is great, and it's really nice to hear people's ideas, but at some point you have to be allowed to just write it. And I think sometimes it's people want to tell you exactly what they want, or for instance, they might like a particular film, and they basically want that film rather than the original film. So that's the flip side of it, is that when people are trying to micromanage your writing, it's really difficult to be creative. But again, you know, I mean, that's if you're doing that for a living, you're lucky anyway, aren't you, really?
Question for you is, which movie had a big influence on you?
Right, okay, this always comes up. So I like loads of films. I like loads of films because loads of genre. You know, some of my favorite films are things like, I like Blues Brothers, Brazil by Terry Gilliam, Toy Story, Back to the Future. You know, I've got a large range of films that I like. But actually, I suppose the film that had the most impact on me was Snow White, because I saw it when I was very young. And in those days, they used to, this makes me sound really old. In those days, they used to have 2 films on at the cinema, and they just show them in repeat. And I remember going to see Snow White in a cinema, and it was completely dark, and it was the bit where the witch comes on, and you know, the whole audience is just on the edge of their seat watching this fantastic cartoon, you know. And I think that was probably it. And that I would say that was when I was really young. But that's only occurred to me relatively recently that had such a big impact on me, really.
Do you go to the cinema very often, Darren?
Yeah, I still try to, because I like the cinema. I think it's where we should be watching films. I think it's very different to go and see a film and experience it with an audience and have people around you, as I say, you know, reacting. And I think that's incredibly important. I think that'd be a real loss if we lost cinema, because I think some films are great to watch and we enjoy them and it's fantastic, but a film's not as funny if there's not 200 people laughing along with you, and a film's not as sad if there's not 200 people crying along with you. And you know, that community experience of seeing a film is amazing. You know, I mean, that's what I want for my films, and certainly that's what I want from my films that I go to see as well.
Next question, let's do it. All right, next question is, what is the most difficult thing have you ever done?
The most difficult thing I've ever done. I think it's bringing children up. I think that's the most difficult thing, because I think you're always wondering if you're doing it right, and every single stage is a different thing that you worry about. And I remember my granddad saying to me, I was talking to him something about my mum, and he said something along the lines of, in your eyes, they're always children, you know, they're always children, no matter what age they are, they're always children to you. You're always going to worry about them. You're always going to, you know, care about them. You're always going to, you know, think the worst and the best of them. So yeah, I think that's probably the hardest thing. And anyone that has children that tells you otherwise is lying.
How many kids do you have?
3.
Oh,
yeah.
Saying that, what's the most beautiful lesson you've learned from them so far?
Oh God, they're fantastic. I mean, they're just lovely humans, and they're just I learn things from them all the time. I've worked with a lot of young people anyway, but my own children are relatively adult. Well, they're all adults actually. They're all. I don't say they're relatively. They are all adults now. But no, I'm learning from them all the time. I mean, it's just really nice to connect with them, and it's really lovely that they like to. We see quite a lot of them, which is really nice as well, even though they don't have to see us anymore.
Look, your eyes shiny talking about that. Look your eyes. Proud dad, a proper proud dad. Next question, Darren. Let's do it. All right. Next question is, what is your idea of a perfect day?
Perfect day? Yeah. Oh, definitely sunny, without a doubt. I like to do, but I like writing. I really enjoy it. So I'd like to make sure I had time to do a bit of writing. I like to have a decent cup of coffee, really nice, decent cup of coffee. I don't mind being at home, in the garden or whatever. Don't have to go out somewhere exciting. It's nice to have lunch with someone, either my wife or, a friend or something. So it's nice to have a bit of company as well. I think when you're writing, again, you're on your own quite a lot. You haven't got any water cooler moments or any interaction a lot of the time. So it's nice to have lunch with someone sometimes. And then, just maybe in the afternoon, do a bit of reading and then watch a bit of TV in the evening. Go to cinema, maybe.
Darren, when you say that about your writing, do you are a kind of person that you write every single day, or you need to be inspired? You need to be like, okay, some days I just don't feel like, I don't have any inspiration, you just let it go, or you write every single day?
I think I should write every day. Sorry about the noise there. I feel that I should write every day, and I feel guilty if I don't write every day. And I think feeling things get in the way of me writing every day, and that's a bit frustrating. But I try to, if I can, write every day. And some days that might be a really long day. Long for me. I might start at 8 and not finish till 8. I did do a really long. I did a 30-hour day once, which I would never do again. Which was just completely writing and just having drinks and little breaks. But I don't advise that without any shadow of a doubt. So yeah, I do try and write every day if I can, but those days might vary depending on what else I'm doing. And some days I don't at all.
But when you say you should, it look like looking at business sides, like you need to write every single day. You should write because a business, because you need to keep things going. That's what you meant?
So partially, yeah. I think, if you're not constantly writing, you get to a point where someone says, "Oh, show us something," and you haven't got anything to show anyone. You get to a point where you've written some stuff and maybe they're being developed and going on a bit further. So then you've got to start the next thing, even if it's on spec, without being paid for it. So it is really important to keep writing from a business sense, but just from a sense of a sort of personal feeling of, a lot of people say things that the entertainment industry chooses you don't choose it. And I think that's true for me with writing. I didn't really understand that when I first heard it, but I completely get it now. I completely get the fact I have to write in some ways. I feel like I should.
All right, understood now. Now I got your point now.
Yeah.
Ready for another one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. One of your children, they follow your path as a writer or not? They are in different fields.
No, they're all completely different. I think they've seen how much return I get financially for it and decided it's not for them. So.
No, I don't think so. Maybe they grew up seeing you all the time, right? They're like, "Oh my God, you took so my dad's time. I just write. I don't want to be there."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Yeah, sorry, you say something?
No, that was it. I think you're right.
Okay, next question is, in your opinion, what's your best friends? What do they do that comforts you the most?
Oh, interesting. That's a good one. I think you need someone that can actually listen to you. I think it's really important to be able to talk to them about things. It's nice to be able to. I think, you know, some in this with what I do and this type of thing. Sometimes you're working intensely with people for a month, 2 months, or whatever, and then you don't see them for a year, or you don't see them for 5 years. And I think what's really nice is when you just see someone, even 5 years later, 10 years later. I think I saw someone 25 years later, about a year ago, and we've seen each other a few times since then. But it was just like we hadn't seen each other. You know, it just like we saw each other the day before. We just picked up where we left off, and I think that's really nice. And it's nice to share those memories with people.
I think when the connection is there, you know, it can take 10, 5 years, but as soon as you reconnect again, that's it. You feel like the time never passed by.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you don't choose friends. They just come along and they stay and they go and come back again, and the connection is always there.
Absolutely, yeah. And it doesn't matter how hard you work at it, you can't force friendship, you know. It's just, as you say, it's just there.
Don't go around saying you're going to be your best friend, you're going to be your best friend. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
3 questions left for you,
okay.
Darren. Let's do it. But before the next question, I know very difficult question for you now. Let's say, I'm sure you've written a lot of arts, let's put it this way, a lot. But if you can pick one of your projects that you wrote, something that you go like, I'm so proud of that, something that's always going to be close to your heart, there's something that you could share?
I like to write different things. You know, I don't like to write all the same thing one after the other. So I like to have different styles of things. One of the things I really like, I'm really proud of that I wrote, I did a community play in probably 20 years ago now, so it's quite a long time ago. But it was a community play, so it had actors and non-actors in it, had about 60 parts.
Wow.
And it's sort of set in 1936. And it was just really nice again to see that brought to life. It was a musical, so I had music in it as well. I'm really proud of that as a piece of writing. I think that's it's a really well structured, considering it's got that many characters. All the characters are individuals. They all make sense. They've all got their own little stories. And I made sure that even if you only had 4 lines in it, your character had a journey, you know. So I worked quite hard on that. And I do like that as a piece. And it will probably never get performed again because it's just ridiculously expensive if you had to pay all the actors to do it. But yeah, I think that's probably the one I like the best.
See. All right. Next question is, what makes you a unique person?
What makes me a unique person? I don't know. I don't know that I am particularly, but I think I tend to get work from recommendation a lot. So if wants someone to do something, I tend to get asked, whether it's workshops or writing or whatever. So I suppose what makes me unique is the fact that I've had such a lot of different experiences in the sense of different art forms, sort of, and different places that I've worked and different people that I've worked with in hard to reach groups and all that sort of thing. I think I've got a lot. On the one hand, I've got a lot to offer because I know lots of little bits about lots and lots and lots of things. On the other hand, I don't have that much to offer because I don't know anything useful about any one thing. If that makes sense.
Sure, absolutely. I think you just it makes who the person who you are. When you write, you know what I mean? It's your unique way of writing, of express yourself and sharing with the world.
Yeah, definitely.
2 questions left.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, but before the next one, tell me something. Now, just this question just came to my mind now.
Sure.
What's the biggest misconception that people has from writers, if there is any, And also, what people get right when they think about writers? What's something that they always get it right?
So misconceptions, that's an easy one. I think there's this idea that it's easy for you if you're a writer. It's easy to write if you're a writer. And I think most writers that you probably speak to will say it's not easy. You just have to get on with it. You have to force yourself to do it. Most people say, "Oh, I'd like to write." Well, anyone can write. You have to force yourself to do it. And I think there's this misconception that the more you do it, the easier it gets, and therefore the less time it takes. I find a lot of the time now, it seems to take me longer than it used to. And I think, I hope that it's because I now think more about every sentence that I write. Whereas when I first started, I might have, I would have thought about the whole play and I would have done it or whatever. But now I think I'm constantly thinking, does that work? Is that working? Is it working with that? Is it something I would look at and go, oh, I don't believe that. Is it true? I'm asking myself all those questions as I'm writing every single line in every single scene, particularly for feature films. And I think that just takes time. It takes a lot of headspace as well. And I think people perhaps don't realize that. And especially when you've done that and you give it to someone and they say, oh, can we change this, this and this? But it actually means that you've got to change another 15, 20 things within the thing as well, So I think that's a misconception. As opposed to things that people think are right. I suppose there's that thing of that you, I don't know if people do think this, that you sort of enjoy your time writing, as it were. I know that sounds completely opposite of what I've just said, but I like the time I'm in those worlds. I like the solving of those problems. So I think, I think the misconception is that you enjoy it and you don't enjoy it at the same time.
I'm gonna put a question on a quite tough question for you, not personally for you. Personally for you, let's say somebody come up to you and say, Darren, from now on, you're gonna write only for TV, like including movies, all of TV, or just theater, whatever. Which one would you choose?
That is a hard one. I think I'd probably choose TV, because I think it's really interesting, actually. Well, I find it interesting. I think in TV, you can go anywhere in the sense of, you can cut to another scene, but you can't. But actually, theatre is more free than that. So theatre allows you to do anything. You can sit in a chair and go like this, and you're in a car. Whereas in a movie, you actually have to get a car. But the thing I do like about film is that you can completely immerse your audience in that world in a slightly different way to you do with theatre. I think theatre, the audience are using their imagination to fill in a lot of the gaps, which is great. But in a film, I think we really feel like we're in it.
Okay. Next question is, what is the best gift have you ever received, and from whom?
The best gift? Oh, yes. I don't know. To be honest, one gift that I really, really did like, it's ridiculous as it sounds, was a pair of walking boots that we got, that my wife got me when we were a lot younger, and I wore them absolutely everywhere. I used to wear them just like to walk around because they were so comfortable anyway. But then we went on loads of holidays where we would actually use them in the proper places, and it was just really, in fact, I've probably still got them, but the soles are worn out completely now. So I think that was a really lovely gift, because it's about something that's useful but really comfortable, and something that you think has got a memory. Every single scratch on them has got a memory from somewhere,
Wow, I like that. Amazing. I love that. Ready for the last question, Darren?
Sure.
Last question. Let's do it. Before the last question, people watching the interview right now, would you like to become a writer or to start a career as a writer? What would be your best piece of advice?
Don't. No, the best piece of advice is to write. I mean, you know, everyone says a writer writes and all that sort of stuff. I think actually the key is you're a writer when you're writing. You know, you're not a writer when you're earning £1 million. You're not a writer when you're not earning anything. You're not a writer when you're earning £10. You're a writer when you're writing. And if you want to be a writer, you need to write. And so many people say they want to write and never write. And you should. You know, I think it's good to get stuff out there. I don't write novels or prose at all, but people like that poetry, you know, that type of thing. It doesn't matter what it is. If you want to be a writer, I think, right, and then you've got something to show people. You know what you like and what you don't like. You're always getting better at your craft. Same as anything. If you're making a chair, you know, the more chairs you make, the better they'll be, hopefully. So yeah, a writer writes.
When you said don't, I thought maybe he doesn't want any more competition around.
Definitely, 100%. I always think this when I'm teaching students. I always think, well, why am I teaching this student? They're going to just be competition for me. And some of them are really good as well.
You made me remember now. I had an interview with a professor from New York City, and actually he mentioned something that I never knew. He said that there is a writer, like I don't remember if it was a poem writer, but she just, because she was writing, but she never published anything because she was shy. She never thought she was good. Yeah. And actually her art just came out, or everybody discovered when she died, after she passed away, and she became famous because of that. Can you imagine how at the same time as well? So they find out so many pieces of art that she did, like she wrote so many literally things that, you know, people, they appreciate. And she wasn't here anymore because she thought she wasn't good, and she wasn't. And can you imagine? I found it very interesting that I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. I mean, it depends, I suppose, if her pleasure was in the writing of them as well, though. Do you know what I mean? Because I think, you know, with some scripts, I will think, well, that's what I want to produce. And if no one likes it, then that's, I can't do anything about that. As long as it's done properly, as long as it's crafted properly, you know, it sort of shouldn't matter whether people like it or not, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Last question for you is, who would you swap lives with for a day, if you could?
Oh, okay. Who would I swap lives with for a day? That's an interesting one. I couldn't give a name, but I would definitely 100% like to swap lives with someone working in a studio system, if it still exists, I suppose. I suppose I'd like to swap lives with someone who was writing films in the 1950s at like MGM or Warner Brothers or one of those big studios. I love to work in a massive studio with an office, and, you know, you could write literally anything and it would be put on screen in a practical way, not just in a CGI sort of way, you know. So I think, yeah, one of those writers from the 1950s when film was just, I think it was probably 50s, yeah.
All right, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay. I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
Sure.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game.
Sure.
Let's start with family.
Commitment.
Money. Commitment. I'm joking.
Commitment. No.
I'm joking.
Money. No. I think comfort.
Life.
Opportunity.
How about love?
Commitment. I think joy, really.
Okay. Politics.
Frustration.
More than ever. One word for sex.
Enjoyment.
How about religion?
Religion. Oh, interesting. Oh, I think comfort for some people.
Fear.
Challenge.
Friendship.
Value.
Desire.
Perfection.
Regret.
Pointless.
One word for success.
Tenacity.
I like this word, tenacity.
Yeah, I love it.
Wow. Happiness.
Desirable.
One word for London.
Cosmopolitan.
One word for England.
Oh, fractured.
One word for filmmaker.
Dream maker.
Wow. And the last one now, writer. One word.
I should have saved that last one, shouldn't I? Writer. Actually, ensemble. I think particularly with film, actually not theatre as well, to be honest, but particularly with film, you're a cog. You're not necessarily a small cog, you're a big cog, but you are a cog in a machine and you're part of that machine, and it can only work with everyone doing their cog stuff.
You just made my day. I learned a new word. I never heard this word before. Gog. Gog? Yeah, I like it. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely wife for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her, tell me the most beautiful thing about Darren, and tell me something that he still needs to work on, to improve on. What should I say?
I think she would probably say tenacity. You know, the fact that never take no for an answer is a good thing in a lot of instances with work. And the bad thing I would probably say is the flip side of that is stubbornness. You know, never accepting the fact that someone doesn't want to look at your stuff or give you an opportunity. Or everything's an opportunity.
I'm sure she knows what she's talking about. I'm sure. Let's play now, Darren, and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Okay, you can ask me a question now, Darren.
Okay, this is it. So I don't know what the answer would be myself to this. If you could have invented anything that's already been invented, what would it have been?
Wow. You're very good, because as I said, I have over 700 people around the world and nobody asked me this question yet. To put in the spot, and I love being the spot. So let's think about that. Something that is being invented that's
that you'd want to be your invention, that you'd think, wow, I'm glad I invented that.
Okay, right. It's the first thing that comes to my mind, like automatically. I would say cell phone. Yeah, like
okay.
Mobile, like, you know, when I say cell phone, I like mobile or smartphone. When it started, let's say smartphone. Let me answer it a different way. Let's say smartphone, and I'll tell you why. I think when you think about telephone, yeah, like you call people, you talk to people. Remember when there was no mobiles around, and I remember, you know, you're calling your grandmother, you're calling your relatives, your friends. You go there, you just have a talk over the phone, which is amazing. You know, I love that. I think it was already something big. You know what I mean? Like be able to talk to someone in a different country, in a different city, or in a different place. Yeah. But I think when the smartphone came along, where you could watch TV, you can literally, you know, there's so many tools there that sometimes I get scared of it. Like, my God, there are so many things there in the smartphone that you go like, wow. So yes, I think I would be a billionaire maybe if I would invent that, because the smartphone nowadays, it's incredible. Like with the job they you know what I mean, they do with a smartphone, because as we are doing now, I'm literally doing this interview on my phone. Wow. Whoever thought one day that, you know, people would literally connect with other people around the globe using their phone, you know what I mean, like seeing each other FaceTime. I call my family back in Brazil, my mom, and I go like, literally, I can have a dinner with her, talking to her and just having a meal.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's amazing. It's amazing. I think it's something, sometimes it's scary actually, because there's so much there that maybe we are not ready yet, or we haven't been educated for it yet, like in a proper way.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think the modernity, or the way that people, you know, the creation, you know, it helps a lot, because there's so many information there, like with YouTube, with Google, with things that you just put a name there, and so everything's there. Do you know what I mean? I think Google became like a verb. Yeah, people go like, Google it. Yeah. You know, everything's there. I wish when I was studying, you know, when I was studying, I said there was something that I could understand. I wish at the time I could just put on Google and everything would come out. Anyway, however, so I think it's a tool. It's a, you know, something that it just put the world in a different place. I think, you know, people, they appreciate a lot that now, because, you know, it's there's the bad side of it, as everything, you know, in life. But I think a smartphone as well, you know, there's so many things there that it's something that I would love to be remembered, that I was the one who created this amazing smartphone where you could watch TV there, where you could connect with people around the world there through your phone. I think that's something. I love the question. Yeah,
that's a good answer. That's a really good answer.
That would be wow, amazing. I love being this pod. I love Darren. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. It's really nice. Good fun.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Nowadays, I think, you know, we are so busy with our own lives. And when someone takes their time for you, for me as a gift, because, you know, I know how busy we can be and how busy we are. So thanks so much for taking the time to share. We're literally making memories now. We're going to be, this memory going to be here forever. So thanks so much. But before you go, if you can share a positive message, something that you live by.
So it's something from university, actually. One of our tutors said to me, and I always use it at the end of a lesson if I'm doing any writing workshops, and it's don't get it right, get it written. And essentially what it means is, in a writing terms, you can't look at something as a piece until you've finished it. And I think it's with any work of art, you know, you can worry so much about getting it right that you never get it finished. And I think that's a really important thing, because, you know, having written for as long as I've been writing, my first draft is never the best. It's always going to need reworking. But until I've got to the end of that first draft, I can't really tell what the story is. Even if I've planned it meticulously, you can't really see it until it's finished. And I think that's the same with any work of art, and with a lot of things, you know. Don't worry about getting them right and never getting them finished. I suppose that's the thing.
Wow, nice one. Learned something new. Made my day now. Thanks so much.
Thanks very much for reaching out.
All right, it was a pleasure. Keep in touch, okay? It was a
yeah,
pleasure.
Definitely. Thank you.
Take care.
For reaching out. See you later. Bye-bye. See ya.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.